Hello and welcome to New Earth, New Love. This is part 2, Loving My Body. I am your mentor, your coach, your facilitator, your soul family friend, and self-love guru, Krishna Escobar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time joining us in this New Earth, New Love series, welcome to you. This workshop series addresses the question that has been being asked now recently with all of the shifts and changes we have been experiencing on a global level. And it addresses, how do we create the new earth? And in my work, specializing in self-love wellness, decolonization, and building a conscious lifestyle, my answer is, we do this when creating a strong foundation of love, New Earth love. And that's what this series is all about. It dives into moving the notion of love into a more balanced and harmonious experience while we explore, navigate, and bring to the surface the important elements of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Each workshop will offer guidance on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual skill building. And this is what the New Earth, New Love's workshop series explores. In this particular workshop, we're going to be looking at love in the body versus love in the mind. And in the other workshops, the first workshop, we looked at building the notion of self-love. And that's what the first workshop was all about. In this workshop, we're going to be specifically looking at, what is body, mind, wellness? We're going to be looking at love and how it is a form of energy. And we're going to be exploring the idea of decolonization. In the first workshop, we just defined decolonization. And in this workshop, we give some more depth. So I highly encourage you to always take a look at the prior workshop if you're new to this series, and always continue on taking all 5, because these concepts are designed to build upon each other, while they can also be taken standalone. And so this is our pondering question, or statement, if you will. It's a choice to listen to my body mind's voice. I want you to just kind of sit in that statement for a moment. Now that we've had a moment to pause, let us do a little reflection. What does body mind feel like for you? Take a sec. Jot down 3 to 5 words that describe body mind. And when you jot these words down, I want you to think about, how does it make you feel? Where in the body do you feel this feeling? And take a sec. Wrap up your thoughts and just put that aside for a moment. Let's talk about the new Earth energy upgrades that have been happening on the planet. In the first series, I talk in more depth about the 444 New Earth Gateway that took place on the 22nd of April of this year. But some of the other energy upgrades that are making its way through are really kind of asking us to do a few things, to consider a few things, because these energies are affecting our energy and they are informing our ability to raise our consciousness. They are wisdom codes, if you will. Now, the first energy downloads that are coming through are really asking us to take a pause, take a break. I'm going to be talking about the retrogrades in a different workshop in this series. So if you're interested in learning more about the retrogrades we're going on during the 2020 year, please definitely take a look into those. But some of these energies are really asking us to really rest. And what's important about the messages that are coming through at this time regarding rest is that when we rest, it's crucial that we are resting within the sense of a womb. Now, what do you mean, you might be asking? Resting within the womb, what does that look like? Well, just think about the time when we were in our fetal state, in our mother's womb. What kind of reality did we have? There was a lot of things that we didn't see and sense. There was sightless experience because our eyes were not open in looking at the world outside of the womb. So there's a lot of darkness. We are floating in the amniotic fluid of the womb. So we are floating. We are floating in this beautiful energy of love and abundance. And so when you are resting and really thinking about these energy downloads, begin to consider how your rest is a microcosm or an expression, a duplication of the resting that took place while in the womb, and really thinking about what feeds you, what nourishes you, where might you find some of these things as we come within, we go within and have sightless knowing and perception even in the darkness. And that's a really important message to share. Now, the other is the idea of the Shuman Resonance. If you are unfamiliar with the Shuman Resonance, I really want to encourage you to step into understanding how the Earth itself has a electromagnetic frequency that it emits. And this Schumann resonance is a description, if you will, of this, with lots of wonderful details. There's lots of amazing resources. Just to do a simple online search, you will find lots of information about the Schumann resonance. But what's important with the context of our workshop series is that the Schumann resonance has been actually peaking and rising, and it has been doing so since this new Earth gateway that took place in alignment with the spring equinox. And there was a new energy, new Earth timeline that kind of went online during that time. And this new Earth timeline now has brought in these frequencies and timelines of the new Earth while simultaneously existing within the old Earth timeline. So really there are both new and old Earth energies in the form of timelines that are taking place on the planet at this time. And depending on when you access this video, you could probably reflect on some of the things that have been happening from the beginning of the year, let's say February on. And there's a lot of changes, a lot of dismantling, a lot of shifts, a lot of truths being sought. I'm going to be talking about Gemini moving into North Node in the next series, and really talking about how communication and expression is a really important theme in this next cycle, which will take place through the year of 2021. Let us move on. So we explored new earth energies. Now let's think about some terms that we might have heard that will set the stage for this particular workshop. Read through this list and explore to yourself, have you heard these terms? Vibration or frequency. Have you heard of body or emotional intelligence? So let us ponder, what is the body and what is the mind? And if we were to give a definition, the definition I would offer is that the mind and the body function as a whole unit. And so the body and the mind are both mechanisms that move the subtle and major energies within the body from one place to another. And because of this, we create a holistic image of our physical experience and our psychological experience, which in many ways is both physical and non-physical, to represent the body-mind. The body-mind is rooted in some very interesting and very important aspects of how it informs us about its truth and reality. And one of them that's really important is that of history. The history of separation has been a persistent part of our past experiences, living in a colonial reality, oppression, the the just invention of race and the hierarchy and the patriarchy and the hegemony. All of those things have really promoted a notion of separation, while the new earth is all about integration. The new earth is all about integration. So the body to reflect on the physical and the emotional body is integration. The mind to reflect the mental body and its ability to access the higher self is our integration. What happens when we separate? When we define our whole human experience by compartmentalization notions of who we are, putting us in a box such as racism or gender or sexual orientation, these identifiers that we're given and told that is who we are, further is supported by our early socializing messages. And I spoke about the socializing agents in part 1. These agents of socialization inform how we perceive the world and ourselves. In this compartmentalization version of the human, we have an identity. And this identity is something that is separate from us, but yet it represents us. The labels, or as I always call them, the boxes that we're placed in. And sometimes we are placed in this box. Other times we over-identify when we use these terms, and then we place ourselves in the box. And this is part of the colonial reality, because the colonial reality wants us to buy into the separation, that things are separate. And it leads us into the second most important crucializing element of the body mind, is the over identifying, because the integration helps us to diminish this over identifying. that happens with separation, because over-identifying causes us harm. When these labels that we use to identify ourselves further marginalize us by limiting our ability to sense a holistic version of ourself and all other beings, including humans and animals and the plant life. When we are not just the body or we are just the mind, but we instead are the body and the mind. So we are not this or that, we are and. We are the and. We are the body and the mind. And this fullness allows more intelligence in sensing the true nature of our human experience. So integration of the body mind is so crucial because it utilizes our emotions and our physical senses together with our intuitive knowledge to interact with the beautiful world around us. So now is another take a moment. How does my body mind influence my life? Please take a breath, a deep one, and visualize what your body mind looks and feels like in your life. I'll give you a few moments to do that. Take another breath, come back. Now let's think about energy a bit further, because this is really important when we think about what is body-mind wellness. Body-mind wellness is the active process of living a healthy life that integrates our knowledge of energies. In this perspective, and in contradiction to Western science that uses diagnosis manuals to handle our care and our wellness, BodyMind is a holistic approach to health and wellness. Using the body and the mind to inform our perceptions, we link our body's intelligence with the emotional body's intelligence. And this EQ is then interlinked with the intellectual mind in a balanced and harmonious way, exchanging ideas, sensations, and drives like a symbiotic relationship. This beautiful dance is a more expansive view of the human. The integration that takes place allows us to notice more subtleties in the body, placing less emphasis on our thoughts and more attention on our sensations that we receive from the energies around us. And in turn, we activate our pairing within our body mind, because it brings us new energies to be present as we open ourselves up to the most beautiful part of this integration. And I'm going to be talking about accessing our higher self more deeply in part 3 of this series. So love equals energy. It is the vibration of healing. As we begin to care for our body from a more balanced place, we activate the energy of self-love. Like an actor in a play, this energy is powerful in its ability to heal, to align our energy centers in the body and create new DNA structures in the body-mind. In sum, when we love our body and treat our body and our mind as one whole package, we begin to see less limitations, we notice more abundance, and begin the process of decolonizing the body-mind. You might be wondering, what are some examples of body, mind, energy in action? Well, you will have to tune in to parts 3 and 4 of this series as I dive more deeply into this notion there. So why body, mind, wellness? Well, let's do a little recap. Body, mind, wellness is crucial because it is the body's intelligence. And it is also the emotional intelligence, or as many of you might know, EQ. It also represents integration, and it represents free energy, which is love. Now let's talk about decolonization, because that is a crucial part of a balanced body-mind. Decolonization within the body-mind soul complex is defined as this. A decolonized body-mind integrates knowledge from the body, mind, and soul. Seems basic enough, right? Well, let's talk about building the body, mind, soul. Now, in this particular workshop, I'm going to be focusing on just the body, mind, and we will get more into the body, mind, soul complex in the next series. But as we build, we naturally decolonize ourselves from the toxic consumption of information, of energies and situations, with our ability to sense our body mind becoming more clear. And this detoxification process can be really visualized as a cycle, a circular process where we are detoxified, we have clarity, the clarity then provides more detoxification, and it's a cycle because it feeds into each other. This innate knowledge that we gain from this detoxification process, or natural knowing, allows us to integrate our whole self into our everyday human experiences. Our thoughts and our feelings begin to notice the inconsistencies that reside outside and within that do no longer align with our intuitive self. So this discernment and intelligence is so crucial, because decolonization of the body mind helps us to notice when we are overusing the body or the mind to decide the reality that we are stepping into, and it helps us to weigh our options with more clarity regarding the outside world and the internal one. Because when we integrate, we are allowed more truths to become evident, naturally so. The decolonization of our body mind naturally detoxifies, and as I said, in this circular way, all lower vibrational energies, including the biggest colonial weapon of fear, is replaced with the innate guide of love. And these energies are those which support our physical, emotional, and mental body in a wonderful, balanced way. In this beautiful, balanced state, we're able to remove toxic narratives that do no longer ground itself in love. And the purest state of our consciousness is awakened and identified within our inner knowing, aka our inner light, or otherwise known as our soul. And this beautiful spiritual intelligence that arises acknowledges when the body, mind, soul complex is truly unified. And again, this is something that I will talk about in more depth in a later series. So let's do a recap. Go back to the very first activity where you wrote down a list of what does body mind feel like, and just review that list for a sec. As you look over those words that you jotted down, I want you to reflect on these questions. In what areas of my life would I like to strengthen the integration of my body and mind? How do I currently promote body-mind wellness? And then commit yourself to the final. I would like to increase my body, mind, soul activities in the following ways. How would you like to increase your integration? Because that was the core element. But maybe there's some other activities. As always, I am immensely humbled by your engagement, with your commitment, and your self-love investment in this course, exploring loving your body. If you find yourself in need of more one-on-one mentorship and support, please visit me at selflovecreatives.com. I would love to work with you in more depth. I use lots of modalities in my approach as an intuitive empath and psychologist. Not only do I utilize perhaps more formalized or familiar methods of psychology, such as reflections and dialogues, questions, much like this workshop. I also use tarot, and I am an energy healer, so there are lots of opportunities for mentorship and support. Let us stay connected. Either way, please follow me at Self Love Creatives. I would love to learn how this workshop has supported you, has given you different perspective or an insight, or you have some feedback that you would like to offer. I would love to hear. And if you're interested in diving more deeper into your self-love process, follow me and join me weekly for my podcast, Loving Me Creatively, where I explore all things love, imagination, and transformation. And of course, if this series has sparked some inspiration for you, please join me for the third part of this series, Inspiring the Divine Within, where we're going to be talking about body, mind, soul versus decolonization. And we're going to really be diving into love being rebirthed in this new earth and indigenous wisdom, among some other really powerful concepts. So if you are interested, please connect with me at selflovecreatives.com for more information. Much love and blessings to all of you. Please take a moment to breathe, to stay hydrated, and reflect after this workshop, and really allow it to be integrated into how you are discerning your body mind, how you're integrating, and how you are loving your body.